Women don't want to admit the truth. Guys, things are going downhill very quickly. The economy is getting worse, and women are struggling for survival. And even then, they still don't want to admit the truth that without men, they cannot survive. What does this actually mean for women going forward? Watch it in this video to have all of these questions answered and more. Don't forget to follow us over on Rumble, and our Rumble is linked in the description of the video. And guys, also, don't let them tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. Go and check out Angry's Crypto Academy to learn how to buy, sell, and trade crypto while making massive profit. The Academy is also linked in the description of the video. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Today we have a video from Man Guide. His channel will be linked in the description so you can go check him out and support him. And guys, it's accelerating very, very quickly. Women don't want to admit the truth. They don't want to accept, they don't want to admit what's happening in society right now. They don't want to admit that they are not able to survive without men. Even when they are talking about how hard it is to survive without men, they're throwing shade like, this just shows that we'd rather be alone without you and struggle than have to deal with your crap. Guys, this is basically the place where women are at right now, where some women, I'm not saying all women, some women are behaving like children, and they are throwing a tantrum because they're not getting what they want. However, most women are living in complete denial, where they're refusing to accept the reality of what's happening in the world. They're refusing to accept what's happening in other parts of the world. We know what's happening right now. I'm not going to say it outright, but you know what's happening in the world right now. It's not very good. We know what's happening in the economy right now. To my understanding, like, private companies did not create, like, for like over the last 6 months, according to the feds, private companies did not create relatively any new jobs in the economy. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, guys, there are many who are also saying that, they changed the policy years ago. So if you stop looking for work, that they say that you're no longer unemployed and you're no longer counted towards the official unemployment record. And there are many who say that the actual unemployment is closer to 24%, not 4%, which I honestly believe. Again, I am not an economist, but I'm just sharing my personal views and things I've heard. And when you say that private industry has not created jobs, meaningfully any new jobs in any new jobs, there's been virtually no new growth of jobs in 6 months, which is unprecedented. Yeah, that illustrates how bad things absolutely are and how they're basically controlling perception by controlling the news. And I see people saying that hopefully, the current administration will turn things around, when they simply don't acknowledge that, whenever we have an election, it's not political parties that win, it's governments that win. It's like, there's a meme going around for a while now that said, like, hey, so it's like The Rock and then like, I don't know if it's like Dakota Johnson, but one of those little white girls, and they're like, and he's like, so who won the election? And she responds, the government. Yeah, like, political parties don't win elections, governments do. That's the hard truth, okay? Whenever an election occurs, the only thing that's being reelected is the system, because that's how the system works. It just gives you the illusion that your vote matters. It doesn't. It's the truth. And women cannot accept the reality right now. Some of them are asking, how the hell are men even surviving? I'll tell you how men are surviving. There are some men who are struggling, but most men live below their means. Most men don't spend money on things they don't need, but they buy the things that they do want. So it's like, you're like, well, how the hell is this bastard able to own a speedboat and a nice car and a house and all of these things? It's pretty simple. Well, ladies, let me ask you something. How much money have you spent in the last couple of years on your makeup, on your clothes, on your trips, all of this other shit, on your car and all this stuff? Because, yeah, he has a nice car, but how much did the car cost? You have a lot of guys who are driving around in a 2001 Ford Explorer and loving that shit. Shout out to the ballers who are still driving around in cars from early 90s and 1980s and even the 70s. I know you guys are there. I know you're listening, so I'll shout y'all out. I know you're there, because yes, we talked about it. There's a lot of you motherfuckers are out there who are driving around in cars from the 90s, and you let me know they are still purring along. You just change the engine or transmission. Some of y'all just put new spark plugs on, change the oil, and you're rolling. Women don't comprehend any of this because they look at things from a completely different lens, and they'll call you a dusty. They'll call you a dusty while you have no personal debt, you have money in the bank. Some of y'all are in your early 50s now and fucking retired. Okay? You eat what you want, you sleep when you want, you live well, and you're getting called dusties, but then women are like, we don't know how these men are even surviving. And it's like it's a complete head scratcher because it shows that women don't comprehend personal finance. You know, men are not spending all of their money on makeup. Men are not spending all of their money on clothes. Men are not spending all of their money on trips. Okay. You have men who will go overseas like passport kings, but they're warned. Other men warn them, do not go to the Philippines and try to live like you're living in the United States. All right. If you go to the Philippines, you should not be spending more than maybe, if you're going to be in the Philippines for 2 weeks or even a month, a lot of men will tell you straight that you should not be spending more than even $500 for housing accommodations. Okay, $500, not 5,000. All right, if you're going to be there for a month, you shouldn't be spending more than $500. A lot of men, not $1,000. You're trying to be a baller. No, $500 fucking dollars. Okay, and you can stay at a very nice place for a month. All right, and that's a lot of money. That's when we say $500. $500, you're staying in a nice hotel, like workout for a month. Okay, that's the honest truth. Women, on the other hand, they're like taking these $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 trips, girl trips every 5 minutes with women they don't even like, and they're spending all of this money and they're charging it to their credit card, charging it to their credit cards, and they have nothing to show for it. So you have a guy who goes overseas, spends $500, or less than that. If he goes for a month, if he goes for like a week, he's spending maybe $200, on accommodations. Maybe 200 to 3, maybe that, probably much less. And in terms of food, like he's just buying food locally. So, he's eating well, but he's not going to like 5-star restaurants. So, a woman comes back and she's like $5,000 in debt. The man comes back and all he spent like for the entire trip was like $500 in airfare. And then he flew there on like a budget. So it was like, round trip, maybe 700, maybe like 700 to maybe like $1,000 max, not even $1,000. Let's say he went down to the Dominican Republic or Mexico or whatever, somewhere even closer. He spent maybe $600 total for like his 2-week stay. Like I'm just being honest. Like women are not living in reality right now, and they're refusing to accept reality. And that's why things are just getting from bad to worse. And then they're furious, of course. They're claiming that men are on strike, men are boycotting marriage. This is the thing. Like even women who are well-meaning, and they're trying to talk about, or at least they come across as well-meaning, they're trying to talk about men's issues. It's clear that they really don't understand anything about men when they write books like Men Are on Strike, or and men are not on strike. They think that in their minds, they believe that men are doing this sometimes to spite women. They're saying on social media men are trying to get their licks back in. They're trying to get revenge by not dating. And these women are completely incorrect. The average, are there some men who are petty? Yes. Are there some men who have a lot of ill feelings? And yes. The average man doing this who's walking away? No. The average man who's not dating anymore, not having children, not involved in relationships, they're in no way trying to spite women. They're not trying to get back at them. They're not trying to get revenge. They don't have time for that. The honest to goodness truth is the most they're doing is developing an indifference. But the reality is that they've done a cost-benefit analysis and they've realized the juice isn't worth the squeeze, and they've walked away. This is not a boycott of marriage. This is not a boycott of relationships for most men. This is not a signal to arms, like call to arms, like, or holding the line and like saying, all right, ladies, we're not going to come back until you change your. That's not what's happening here. And there's some men who will try to act like that's what's happening here because these men still want relationships, right? The average man right now, and it's hard to acknowledge this, it's hard for women to acknowledge this, it's hard for some men to acknowledge this. The average man right now, they're not interested in a relationship. They're not doing it for spite. They're just doing it because they're tired. They're doing it because they did the cost benefit analysis and they've realized that it's no longer worth it. I saw a comment from one of my subscribers, and he basically said that what women don't understand is that, if you look at it from the context of a predator and prey, right? If the predator no longer sees the prey as worth chasing, they'll simply walk away. And the reality is that men no longer see the value in engaging in relationships or chasing after women in society, because even if a woman tells men that they're even if a woman says, men, you need to step up because we are worth it. Good things are worth it. How do you tell a man that they are worth that they are worth it? We're worth chasing. We're worth spending your money on. But you're telling us you bring nothing to the relationship, and we have pattern recognition, and we've lived these lies, and it's just shame, insults, guilt, and gaslighting because you need to be written right to maintain that narrative. But ultimately, you have nothing to offer us, and we honestly want nothing from you. And this is the thing. They cannot comprehend that men are actually done. They're not boycotting. They're not trying to get revenge. They're not trying to get their licks in. They're not doing it for spite. They're happier by themselves. They've come to the conclusion that it's not worth it. Men have finally figured women out. And this is something that women cannot accept either. Women can't comprehend the reality where men would finally begin to understand them. There's a saying. People never really realized that Al Bundy wasn't just comedy. It was reality in motion. It was lessons. Al was speaking truth. We all, it's the way the information was presented, but we were too young to really understand it. For example, when Al said something like, don't, I think he told Bud, he said, listen, son, don't try to understand women, okay? Because women understand women and they don't like each other, all right? It was HATE, but yeah, they don't like each other. Think about that very carefully. And then the audience laugh, or the laugh track comes on. But if you remove the laugh track, if you remove the audience laughter, it's wisdom. When men begin to understand women and they begin to comprehend that it's a zero-sum games, that you're basically dealing with the personality of a child that will never take accountability for anything, and you're dealing with emotions. So, for example, women reason using emotions, while men reason using facts. Women reason using feelings over facts. So if a man is trying to argue with a woman, he's just arguing with her feelings. If she presents an argument, starts picking a fight over literally nothing, and he tries to explain himself, he's now engaged in her trap, where she's going to basically pick him apart and take control by exhausting him using her emotions. Because she's arguing using emotions, and using emotions is basically arguing with stupidity. So if you're arguing with stupidity, you will always lose. And another reason why you'll always lose arguing with stupidity is because, George Carlin said it best: never argue with a stupid person because they will beat you with experience. Women have experience arguing with emotions. They're designed for it. They're designed to cry on command. Women often cry, not because they're sad, not because there's anything going wrong in their life, just because they feel like it. They go through a series of different things, like it could be hormone related. Guys, there's the saying goes, wherever the wind blows, their emotions will go. And sometimes women just start crying because they just suddenly don't feel right. They feel like something is wrong. Everything could be perfect in their lives, and they start crying. And that's the honest goodness truth. And a lot of men didn't understand that, but now men are beginning to realize that they cannot take a woman's emotions too seriously, because that's how women not only control men, but at the same time, women have no control of their emotions either. Women are basically servants to their emotions, or SLAVs to their emotions. They have no actual control over their emotions. Their emotions control them. This is not to say that women cannot recognize patterns. Women can recognize patterns, okay, when they choose to, but they cannot. But not typically, not at the same level as men, are not in the same context for everything. Men, on the other hand, are designed for pattern recognition. Men are designed for survival. Men are designed to deal with hardships. Okay, women are not designed for survival. Women are designed for replication. Men are designed for survival. And the reason why men have and women have worked together for at least for maybe 100,000 years or 200,000 years is because men provided the survivability, women provided the reproduction. Women provided reproduction and hospitality. So they would basically take care of children. They would take care of children. They would take care of the home, and in return, men would basically provide for a woman and her children. That's the harsh reality. All right. But that deal is now done. When in a society where you're like men and women are equal, basically you have a scenario where women will always have to be as equal as men or better than men. That's what they're really saying. If they say men and women are equal, then what they're really saying is that women are either equal to men or better than men. And that's the very narrative that we've been fed. Men are waking up and realizing that working their entire lives now leads to nothing. As inflation eats away at their savings and everything else, as they have no prospects for a partner, for a family, men have no real investment in the system. And here's the truth: if you own nothing, then you owe nothing. If men have no love for family or country, then they will fight for neither. Then they will fight for nothing other than their peace. If a man has no family or love for country, no love for family or country, the only thing he will fight for is his peace. And this is what's playing out right now. It's only going to get worse. It's going to get much, much worse. And what women are going to be met with is silence. What I've come to realize, and it's the truth, is that because of the way women think and operate, it's something like the internal locus. I was using AI to do a bit of research on it. Because of the way that women operate, they will always focus on the flaws of others rather than their own flaws. And self-realization and cognitive dissonance it's just how most are wired. Not all, but most. Which basically means that even if you have a reality where women have all the power, men have no power, and women control the votes entirely, they will basically, and then the things that they vote for, the policies that they put in place, if and when they fail, they'll still turn around and blame men and the patriarchy. And you'll say, what doesn't make any sense? They'll blame toxic masculinity, they'll blame men, they'll blame patriarchy. And you're going to say, but women, you have all the power, you have all the control. We're not even voting anymore. Everything that you voted for, you got. What we wanted, we didn't get. You've been in control for decades, and this is what has happened. And at no point will they acknowledge this, because at the end of the day, they will always shift blame to men. It's a very childish way of viewing things. But then that's when you really comprehend that we are not entirely equal. The way that we perceive reality, the way that we think, is not equal. And that's the honest to goodness truth. It's an unfortunate realization, but it's a realization that most people have to really look at, objectively, and understand. If all men were gone from Earth, if all men were gone from Earth for decades, let's say that we left a society behind that was sustainable to some degree, using AI and automation, and we left this society behind, and men were gone, and it was only women now, and they have to run society. And let's say basically society, within a couple of decades, society is completely run into the ground, and there's no more, like, it's pretty much like they're cooked. They would still, and men have been gone, like they've been like, let's say something happened and all the men on Earth basically expired. We'll use that word. All the males on Earth expired. There were no more, something out of like Why the Last Man. If you know the comic book series Why the Last Man, I think his name was like Yorick Brown. He basically was the last one on Earth, and we kind of like, they took us through a post-apocalyptic reality where there's only one man left on Earth, and what happens. And eventually the women have to figure it out for themselves, the spoiler. But the harsh reality is that with no men, women would run out of people to blame. But the thing is that they would still continue blaming the men, and collectively they would also blame the men, even as things are getting. So let's say all the men have been gone for decades. There are no men, and women have had all the power. They've had all the control. We left them with automation, AI, and even then everything fell apart for them, because collectively they did not have the skill sets to maintain the system, only to use the system. And without men being present, they basically became controlled by it, and eventually even excluded by it. So now they have no access to food. resources are running out, the systems are breaking down, and they're not capable of collectively working together to solve the issues. There are no real new ideas. Men are the ones who have been the backbone of creativity from since the dawn of humanity. So now instead of like solving problems, they're just discussing feelings. And they, at this point in time, it's been, let's say, 30 years since men have left Earth, and there's no more men. It's been decades. They would basically huddle together, blame toxic masculinity, blame patriarchy, blame men for what's happening, and they would all collectively agree that it is the fault of men why this is happening, because men designed a system that is now leading to this situation. There would be no comprehension or acknowledgement that men left them gold and they basically squandered it all. And because that's how the wiring works. It would all be redirected as men, and there'd be no patriarchy left. They'd say that the patriarchy still exists in the systems and the ideologies that men left behind. And it's like, bro, you've had like 30 years of no men, and you're still complaining about patriarchy. Yes, because the legacy, even though men are no longer here physically, the legacy of man still lives on. The only way that this problem could have ever been solved is if it was righted from the very dawn of time, when the very first man and woman existed, and the power imbalance was dealt with at that time. Because right now, this is the same thing that they actually argued, that basically we have to understand that they're dealing with, that women have suffered for hundreds, thousands of years of patriarchy, and as a result of that, that's the reason why they're still dealing with all of that trauma and all of the issues, because it still lingers. Even as much, no matter how much women get, it will never be enough. And even without the presence of men will still be blamed. This is, again, it's a very childish way of viewing things. It's a very emotionally driven way of viewing things. This is one of the reasons why men are designed for leadership roles, and why women often struggle in leadership roles. I don't know, guys. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. It is the truth. I know some of y'all probably have some comments. You're probably like, Angry would love you to read those comments. Let's see if we can read some comments. Let's jump into some comments. And by the way, guys, I am celebrating something. Do want to talk about this before I jump into the comments. Maybe I am celebrating something very positive happened. Many of you guys know that I have been self-maxing, working on myself like crazy. I still have not gotten still working on that other citizenship. That's like, I just like, I'm taking a little break from it now, but I've been working towards it, but it is what it is. But something massive happened to me today. Like, I've been working on it for years, and today my student loans I'm officially done with my student loans. And I never thought this would happen. I've been like grinding, and yeah, so I got my letter today, and as long as everything remains stable, like, yeah, my student loans are pretty much, that's the end of that. And this has been like 25 years for me. Like I got my first student loan almost 25 years ago, back in the year 2001, I believe. And I've had this on my back for 25 years. So this is where things get crazy. I have no student, so I'll have no student loan debt now. And in terms of like taxes, my taxes are good. I'm good on taxes. You never want to owe the IRS money or anyone. I've got some personal debt, which I'm not happy with. But the thing is, I spent the last couple of years really working to rebuild my credit. So while I have more personal debt than I actually want, I can pay it off. I also have very good credit. So I'm constantly just getting more credit. Like, for example, Chase just literally out of nowhere just gave me just increased my credit limit by like another $2,000 or $3,000 recently. Or, and they just gave me another line of credit for like another $10,000, and it's not just, and it's like, or another card provider was like, "Oh yeah, here's another 3,000." Like this has been happening for like the last couple of months actually. So it's like I have more personal debt than I want, but at the same time, because I've done such a good job at maintaining my credit, I have lots of credit. I have lots of credit at my disposal, and I'm working to increase that availability so that I can expand my business, grow my business, and so forth. And so that's that, guys. I had a lot in student loan debt, a lot, basically in the range of what, like maybe a little less or right around what a doctor would have, because I wanted to pursue medicine, but I had a lot, and so to have that off my back is unbelievable. I've been self maxing, just working on myself. That's what a lot of men are doing, and a lot of men today are self maxing. And self maxing is basically where you're focusing on yourself and your own development. And many of you guys know, for example, I did like a parasite cleanse. It was hard. I did a massive parasite cleanse. And, there's a channel, Dr. Berg, who talks about it. Like, there wasn't just, even before Dr. Berg talked about it, like people were trying ivermectin. I think it's ivermectin or something like that. It's like a dog dewormer that, like destroys parasites, and people who had like STA, like stage 4, like they were saying that, like, and again, I'm not a healthcare provider, but there's things that were like being talked about on like the Joe Rogan podcasts and stuff, and a lot of people, not just, and even on social media, and they were saying like they had like stage this, and like now they're completely went. And Dr. Berg released a video recently where he basically said CANCER is caused by parasites. And so I did a massive parasite cleanse, and then I've been like, just getting into herbs. I'm like almost completely off prescription medication. I'm trying to get off it completely, but I've really reduced my reliance on it. I will not even take Tylenol or ibuprofen anymore unless it's like emergency. I try to stay complete. I wouldn't even use things like omeprazole, like for like if I have stomach issues, I'll drink some, like I'll make some ginger tea. But but I'm that's like the path I've gone down. And it's like I've also gotten rid of, like, like a lot of those distractions in my life. Like I show you guys how I use YouTube now, where I don't have, like, even on my phone and on my desktop, I no longer have a YouTube homepage feed. I no longer have subscriptions. I don't see any of that shit anymore. If I want to go to I have like basically a group of like channels, like using extension, and it tells me whenever, like, there's a new video out on like in the group, and like and on the channel, I can go there and check it out manually, or I can go and search for it. But I don't I don't have that YouTube addiction like I did before. I no longer see thumbnails. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. I used a bunch of extensions to get rid of all of that shit. So like I did like a massive dopamine detox. I'm like walking away from the algorithm. So like, for example, I'm not using my phone to listen to music anymore. I bought an iPod. I don't know if I told you guys that I got it yet. Yeah, I got it. I bought an iPod Classic 6th generation. Maybe it was 6.5, and I modded it, put like Rockbox on it. And that's basically it's a software that lets you expand the features and keep it updated. So I'm using that. It's pretty awesome. I wish the quality was better. I spent around $220 for it, and I didn't know a lot when I was buying it. I could have ended up getting like a brand new one with a much better battery, and I'm just gonna keep the one I have. I wish I had known more, but the quality isn't bad. But I've been listening to it. I've been using that for music, loading up my music on it, and it's so different. Like, using it even with wired headphones, not having to constantly worry about charging shit, not getting notifications, and I control how my music flows. I don't have algorithms bothering me. I control I can listen to an entire album straight. I don't have to like keep tapping screens. I have physical buttons. It's such a completely different experience. I really recommend it to a lot of y'all to like stop listening to music on your phones, buy yourself an iPod, like an old school iPod off eBay, and just like mod it. It's a much, much better idea because it changes the way you listen to music, and you escape the algorithm that controls what you listen to and continues to track you. So I've done that. Like I said, I have no more social media. The only thing I use is YouTube. I've gotten rid of X. I've gotten rid of Instagram. I've gotten rid of Facebook. I've deleted Facebook, deleted TikTok, deleted Discord, deleted my old Discord channel. I deleted all of that shit. It's all gone. All gone. I'm not watching. It's been like that for a few months now, in fact. Right? So I've gotten rid of that shit and all of that shit in my life. No more, no more. Because the thumbnails are designed to keep on, drawing you in like recommended videos. I don't get them anymore. Like even like when you're watching, you have like suggested videos on YouTube. Like you're watching a video, you have like a bunch of the videos to the right. I don't see those anymore. It's literally just the video screen and that's it. I don't see comments anymore. Like I've cleaned all of that shit out of my life thanks to Ashy Negro. I've he basically showed me how to like mod my PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation 1. I bought a PlayStation 3 and a PlayStation 4. Haven't modded it yet. Haven't modded the PS3 yet, but I did buy like I did buy the SSD and a hard drive and stuff to like put into it. So hopefully I get to it eventually. But I do have it and bought a couple of games for it as well. I think it was for the PS3. I can't remember if it was for the PS3 or PS4. But I am going to be like trying over the next couple of months, trying to like gradually build up my PlayStation 4 collection, PlayStation collection. Might even pick up a PlayStation 2 because I'm moving offline. I'm like basically moving away from centralization, and it's really improving my life. I'm focusing on my health, getting my health optimal, getting my wealth optimal, and it's like this is like women are like asking how the hell are men surviving. I'll tell you how we're surviving. We're focusing on ourselves. We're focusing on our wealth. Like they did a poll recently, and they found that men are playing less video games, and instead now spending more time gambling, investing, day trading crypto, and on OnlyFools, unfortunately. So a lot of men are using OnlyFools now instead of dating and having relationships, instead of playing video games. Women kept on bashing video games, and now what are men doing? They're spending their time gambling. They're spending a lot more spending their time gambling away their money, day trading crypto, and and talking to only fools people, and that's not a good thing. But I'm just like it illustrates what's happening right now. Men are basically adapting. Men are some of the most adaptive creatures on earth, human beings in general, but specifically men. Men are designed for suffering. Not to say that men are born to suffer, but men are born to deal with the hardships of suffering. Women are not. Women cannot suffer. This is the reason why you can have a man who's been homeless, and you can't even tell that he's homeless sometimes because his clothes are clean. And it's like, how the hell are you? It's like, bro, you're homeless, but your clothes are old, but they're not dirty. Like, bro, your clothes are clean. I could tell you did your laundry recently, and you've been on the street for how long? Decades. It's different it's for a man. It becomes a lifestyle. Men know how to suffer. Women, on the other hand, women when they're homeless, they cannot suffer like a man. A man will turn suffering into an opportunity. For a woman, suffering becomes a travesty. And unless a man saves her, unless the government saves her or a man saves her, it's not. There's no help coming. And the funny thing is, like I told you, women, they will never acknowledge the situation. They will basically double down. It's a childish way of thinking. Like, a perfect example I gave you where like there was this like, this guy who went into like the sewers. People were like living in the sewers, and he went into like the sewers, like storm drains or drain pipes. And yeah, it was crazy. It was like in California, I believe. And he interviewed different people. It's pretty dangerous down there. He got permission to go down there because you can be deleted down there. And he went down there and he was like interviewing different people. And he interviewed a bunch of different men, and the men basically told him exactly how they ended up down there. One was like a date. It was like a stock trader in New York, and he basically lost his shirt, and now he's homeless living down there. And it was crazy because most of the men are almost pretty much all of the men that he interviewed were mostly respectful and mostly rational. Like they didn't want to be living down there, but they explained how they ended up living down there. And then he interviewed this woman who was like, she looked okay. So I like to say she was in her 50s, but she could have been as I think about it, she could have been in her 40s. I'm going to be real. She looked like she was in her 60s to me. All right. But she could have been in her 40s as I think about it now. I genuinely think she was in her 50s, but I'm not going to deny the fact that when people live a certain life, especially women, it really ages them. And she was living in the subway. She was living in the sewers, and he interviewed her, and he was like, she's like, why are you living in the sewers and not with a husband and kids? And she had some nerve to say, I will tell you why. Because I know my worth, and I'm waiting for the right man. Wait a minute. What do you mean you know? I know what I'm worth, and I know the kind of man that I deserve. And the interviewer, his bro, just like he was like he was flabbergasted. He was like, Susan, you're living in the sewers. Have you lost your fucking mind? You're living in the Susan, you're living in the sewers. Do you understand? This is the sewers. I had to get permission to come in here. Do you understand? This is danger. This is danger. Danger, stranger. I know my worth. Literally, she was like that. I know my worth. You know your worth. You are homeless, living in the sewers, and you're refusing to settle, and you would rather continue living in the sewers than being a mother and a wife to some man who doesn't make, but to a man who loves you and will provide for you and give you a roof and shelter and money in your pocket. You would rather live in the sewers because you deserve a millionaire. You don't want no broke boy, and $1 million isn't even a lot of money. This shows you guys just the level of childishness and emotional driven thinking, where they will prioritize vanity and desire and never be happy with anything over survival. That should basically explain to you and illustrate to you what we're dealing with as men. It's not a battle you can win. The only way to win is to walk the fuck away as a man. Walk away and stay away and never look back. Never, ever, ever look back. Let me see here. I know I promised you guys some comments. Uncle Angry promised to read some comments for you guys. Shout out to JS. He says, first live. Congrats. Shout out, bro. Congrats on making it to your first live. I love this comment from Thomas Weiser. He says, most conservative women are merely feminists driving the speed limit. Exactly that. The very guys, when they poll conservative women, they find that like half of conservative women or more than half of conservative women believe that feminism still has work to do. These conservative women, half or more than half of all conservative women, still believe that feminism has more work to do. Conservative women. What does that tell you? All right, they are giving you the illusion that they are traditional women when they are not. These are career women just playing the game differently. They're just wearing a different uniform. They're just wearing Celeste says that, when I talked about earlier that there's no two-party system, it's one government. Whenever an election is won, parties don't win elections. Okay, government systems win elections. Celtic says uniparty, one party. It's one party, and a lot of people hate to hear it. All right, because they want to believe that they are part of something. Okay, morons. Let's see here. JST says, I got mates in late 20s married to liberal white women. I wish them luck. Jesus Christ. I wish them luck. Coach Greg Adams always says, all right, you want to go out there? Roll the dice. Roll the dice. When guys say they want to go out there and find that in the wall, he's like, all right, roll the dice. All right, take a chance. Then they come back years later, sometimes months later, crying because they fucked their lives up, lost money, or their reputation has been destroyed, and now they're crying and they want men to feel sorry for them, and they were told not to do this. They're like, oh, you're a big man, your own big man, we told you how it is, but I wasn't in control of myself. Well, now someone else is in control of you and your finances. All right, it's from the streets that you came, it's the streets that you shall now return. All right, you chose the streets, now go back to the streets. I don't want to go back to the streets. No, little buddy, the streets own you now. All right, the streets own you just like the state owns you. That's going to be 20 years of child support. What do you mean 20 years? It's going to be 20 years of child. You're going to have to keep paying for that kid even after 18. In some states, you have to keep paying until they're like 25 if they're in school. Like, child support is no joke, man. But yeah, man, good luck, bro. You're going to have to leave now. Can't stick around here. All right. Yeah. Other men need a shot, all right? Other men need a chance, okay? You already had your chance. You blew it. You can't just abandon. Listen, man, you have to leave. You have to leave. You have to leave. You have to leave, little buddy. You have to leave. Thomas says, Ford Explorer. Ford screwed the pooch. Non-recommended tire pressure. Damn. Let me see here. Ninja says that the ladies have lost their minds. He says, where the heck has their thinking gone? Are they even thinking at this point? They're absolutely not. They're completely controlled by emotions and living in delusions. Living in delusion. We see here. This is a good comment from Ninja. He says, boycotting marriage, damn straight. Most men are not boycotting. Men have walked away. They think that men are like boycotting, like we're gonna come back to, like men are gonna come back to the table. No, men did a cost benefit analysis, realized it wasn't worth it, then discovered that life is a lot better being single, and that that there's nothing to gain being married or in a relationship for most men. Ninja says, get in line, ladies. We're out of the madhouse. Feel free to take it over as the inmates. We have better things to do. Yeah, men have been basically slaving away in a society that doesn't value them. And now women are going to have to take those jobs and step up because men are not going to do it. That's the funny, and women are going to have to do it if they want to survive. While men are basically downsizing, but by downsizing, they're living better. They're living simple lives of luxury and comfort. That's part of the downsizing. The biggest part of the downsizing that men are doing is not simply their lives, their spending, but their relationships. Because by not having women or children, not having a wife or kids, or subsidizing women through dating and relationships, suddenly for a lot of men, their lives don't actually change. They're not deliberately spending less, but by not being in a relationship, they basically can spend their money on whatever they want to, and they still end up saving lots of money just by not being in a relationship, by not dating, not having children, by not subsidizing the expenses of women. You naturally have more money. So some guys are spending more on themselves, but saving way more than ever. So it looks like they're living a simple life of luxury and comfort, but they're actually doing better than ever before. They're buying more and more for themselves than ever before, but they have substantially more money because they're no longer directing any of that money towards women or trying to attract a woman. So instead of wasting money on an expensive car, they're basically, like I said, holding on. They're getting older cars, or holding on to their cars indefinitely. And if women want to call them dusties, yeah, I'm a dusty, but my car is paid off. It drives great, and I have no debt. I'm a dusty, but I have $10, $20, $30,000 in the bank, $100,000 in my 401k, no personal debt, no student loan debt, and my job secure and my job, and I have great job security. Like some guys are like, I'm a trucker and I own my truck. I have great job security, or I have rent, or I have rental property. And I just work, and I take jobs here and there just to stay busy. I know, guys, there's so many guys like who are like retired, or they have other sources of almost passive income, and they basically do things like they may only drive an Uber. They only drive an Uber for like pocket money. Like I know a guy, like I met like my Uber driver. He told me something like, I think he said something like his wife was a doctor or something, and he said something along the lines of like he's not actually working. He's only basically working now just to stay busy, so that he can just to stay busy, but he doesn't need to work. Like his kid, like I think he said like his kids are grown and everything, and he's good, and his wife is a doctor, and he's good. Like a doctor or a lawyer, like he's good, like and he wasn't like living off her, but basically collectively he no longer needed to work. A lot of men who are not married no longer need to, when they don't have that they don't have what you would call the ball and chain dragging them down. They no longer have to work, or they don't have to work in the same way that they were before. And as so many men are watching as the value of money just keeps on deteriorating rapidly, they're only going to invest in themselves. That's the honest to goodness truth. They're only going to invest in themselves, and they're going to focus on themselves and their own well-being. They're not going to, guys, the era of handouts is over. And women, of course, are not going to admit, most women are not going to admit this truth. They're just going to blame men. They'll blame patriarchy. They'll even blame feminism. Okay, but they will never actually take any personal accountability for the choices that they've made and the decisions that they made that have led them to the situation, choosing to prioritize, being boss babes and going down that path. It's like, sweetie, you chose that for yourself, and now you're dealing with the consequences of choosing that, and you want to basically project that onto men, and it's not happening. Men are not going to take it. You can say whatever you want, but men have already left, and women actually believe that men can see their emotions. So a woman can essentially be a woman can basically be alone. She can put videos out on social media. She can be alone in her house, and she can be just angry and furious with men. And somehow she thinks that men who can't see her and can't hear her can feel her emotions, can hear her emotions, can know what she's thinking. I I don't. Again, guys, it's this part is, it's crazy. It's literally crazy. It is crazy. I'm not. There's no other way of putting it. It's crazy. It's insanity. Believing that someone else can hear your thoughts and view your emotions, and they can, people you don't know. So let's say you're angry at a bunch of people, and you somehow think that people who don't know you, never have heard, like, for example, we're not even talking about your friends and family. We're talking about people who just exist out there in the world. All of these people can collectively know and feel what you're thinking. They can know they know what you're thinking, and they know your emotions, your negative feelings, your negative thoughts, all of this. A bunch of strangers, billions of strangers, know your feelings and your thoughts, and by you being angry at them and projecting anger and disdain towards them, they suddenly know. This is insane. This is insane. It's insane, guys. It's insane. Like, there's no other way of explaining it or describing. It's insanity. It's insanity. Okay. But and that's what men have been dealing with for a long time, where guys who are in relationships, and then they have someone who's pissed off with them, their partner is pissed off with them, and they're basically, and like, they're passive aggressive forever, and it's like they're angry at them for something that the guy didn't do anything wrong, but the woman expects them to know exactly why she's upset, and then it turns out that he didn't even do anything wrong, and she, instead of her acknowledging that he didn't do anything wrong, she continues to remain upset, because, or dance around it, because at the end of the day, she will never acknowledge that she was wrong, and you just punished an innocent person. But of course, men cannot be innocent, because they don't treat us like human beings. They don't view us as human beings in the same context as they would view other women, and even then, women don't treat each other very well. They will work together against men, but they don't actually like each other. It's crazy. It's literally effing crazy. But that's the reality that men have been dealing with forever. And then you've got men who are just done with it and walking away, and women don't understand. Like, this isn't revenge. It's men just being done. Thomas says, years back, I tried a Catholic online dating website. I was repulsed by several individuals who tried to push a relationship, as I learned from my mistakes. Yeah, guys, like, this whole Christian dating thing, you have to be so careful with that. Like, a lot of these dudes are like, oh, so many men fucked around and found out, where they went and they thought they were fighting in the wall at church. And then they discovered that church is the worst place to meet a woman. Church is the worst place. All right. Church is a place for sinners, not for saints. That's why I always say that church lady is just another name for 304, and pastor is just another name for pimp. Okay? Look very carefully at how Christ describes the church. The church is basically a gathering of believers, of believers in Christ. It is not a building, it's not a place, it is not a religion. It is simply a gathering of believers in Jesus Christ. Wherever two or three are gathered, there is church. Even if you guys, you will have the greatest church is the church of one. Okay? When you are alone and you call the presence of God, you call upon the presence of God, and you are now speaking to God, you are in church. You do not need two or three. You are in church, because we come into this world alone, and we leave the world alone. The only person that we have the only one with us when we come into this world is God, and He will be the only one that is with us when we leave this world. It is absolutely difficult to hear. I've got some people who are like, there's no such thing as God. I just block them now. Like you're very free to have your belief, but at the same time, if you want to come and you want to spread your nonsense, like okay, I'm not like super religious. In fact, I don't even call myself a Christian. I call myself a believer. I make it very clear I'm not a Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. But if you want to come here like, oh, there is no God and it's made up, blah blah blah, bro, get out of here. I just block. I'm just like we're in the fuck around era is over. The find out era is here. I just block. I just put people out of my life. I don't care anymore. Like guys, like I literally have pretty much gotten rid of all of my friends. I have literally no friends. Okay, I don't respond. I will not respond to their messages. If they can't even. I've changed my phone number. If they find my phone number, I don't respond to their messages. Like if they call me and they somehow reach me, I'll basically just what's the word I'm looking for? I'll basically just ghost them. Like that's how I roll. I have no friends right now by choice. All right. I have some associates, I have some acquaintances, that I may talk to here and there. I really don't talk to people on a regular basis. But I'm pretty much done with bullshit. That's how most men don't want to deal with other men right now. The average man no longer wants to deal with other men, not on a regular basis, because men no longer trust anyone. It's not a matter of we just don't trust women. No, men don't trust other men. Men are tired. Men don't want to deal with anyone else's shit. I have enough shit of my own. I've been through enough bullshit. I've been through enough lies. I don't give a fuck. I'm done. I'm done and I'm walking away. And that's really what's happening here. Most men are done with the lies, done with the bullshit, done with the games. And they're sick of it and they're walking away from it. They're walking away from everything and instead focusing on themselves. And like I said, I've been basically self-maxing, where I've just been focusing on myself and it's been working out for me overall. Like guys, like I suffered a lot. I lost so much money in March. Like like because I moved over to Linux. I finally got my gaming PC, my work PC set, my work desktop set up, because I say gaming, but this is for work. My work PC set up, and and I moved over to and I put Linux on that right away. And then on my laptop, my work laptop, I also put Linux on it. I was just sick of Windows, but I knew there was going to be pain and suffering. And you guys heard me. I didn't put out. I put out almost no videos for a month or a little over a month, and I lost a lot of money. We're talking about it cost me probably in the range of as the numbers are maybe $4,000 to $5,000. I'm doing the math now in the range of maybe around $4,000 to $5,000. That's how much money that 1 month, of not putting out content, moving over to Linux, cost me around $4,000 to $5,000 in lost income. Was it worth it? Yes. Yes. Did it hit? Is it definitely? Does it definitely hurt me? Yes, 100%. That's a lot of money to lose, but it was, it was a part of self-maxing, and as a result of getting away from Linux, now I'm using I'm using Kdenlive to make my videos, and I'm actually able to make videos faster using Kdenlive than I was before using Filmora. In many ways, I prefer it now, even though there's were there things that I liked about Filmora? Yes, but at the same time, Kdenlive, I'm able to do quite a bit, and I'm pretty happy with that. There's so much more I can do with Linux, and I'm finally starting to feel a bit more comfortable with Linux. In terms of the command line, I still don't know. In terms of the terminal, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing most of the time. But at least I'm beginning to learn sudo patterns like that, and I learned not to. I learned if you fuck around, you'll find out. So if any software says that if you want to use it, you just have to give us access to your kernel. You say no. If anyone asks for access to your kernel, you tell them fuck off. Fuck off. Because here's the thing, there's APIs and drivers, and APIs and drivers basically provide software access to the kernel, but limited access. It basically lets software talk to the kernel. However, you have these assholes like, oh, no, we need full access to your kernel so we can monitor you and control and block what you're able to do. And even like, let's say you like download a game and they're like, they need kernel level for anti-cheat. They don't reveal just how deep it is. They don't reveal that they're monitoring all of the things like keystrokes, like things that you type in. So they're monitoring what you type into your computer. They're monitoring your passwords. They're monitoring where you go online. They're like, what the fuck? They're restricting your ability to use software. They're or what you do when they're guys, it's insane. And here's the crazy thing. You delete their application, you delete their game or their software, and the crazy thing is that you don't even realize that the kernel level software that was installed is still there, and you have to delete it separately. So you never ever you never give anyone access to your kernel. I saw this idiot trying to one idiot in the comments because I made a poll about it, trying to say like what I'm saying is nonsense, and how else are you supposed to it's paranoia. Listen to me. I made sure just to block his ass. You never give anyone access to your kernel. You tell them to fuck off, okay? One guy said in the comments, he said, my mommy said to tell you that she's in the shower my mommy said to tell you that she's in the shower and she'll call you back when she gets out. That was the response to anyone asking for access to your kernel. Anyone asks for access to your kernel, you either tell them to fuck off or you tell them that your mommy is busy right now, but she'll call you back when she's free. Oh my god. Guys, after damage, having problems with the kernel, I gave access to some software and I fucked it up and I had to fix it because no one's coming to save me. And it was after going through a lot of shit. I don't fuck with the kernel anymore. I'm still a fucking noob. I don't know shit. So I don't fuck with the kernel, and no one is getting access to my kernel. No one is getting my access to my kernel. Fuck that shit. So that's you'll learn a lot when you move to Linux. You learn no one is coming to save you, and you learn respect for the kernel. You learn security. You learn what not to fuck with, and even then you learn. You'll learn. So I'm over on Linux. I've been doing my thing over here. And I've just been decentralizing like crazy. Decentralize my operating system, decentralize my software. I'm waiting to hopefully I'm waiting for a stable version of Graphene OS to come out. You guys know I bought a new phone. I got a Pixel 10a. So they have the experimental version of Graphene OS Graphene OS, for those of you that don't know, it's a version of Android that is more decentralized. So you have much greater control over it. You can't, Google doesn't have control over it. So it's a different ROM. I bought a Pixel 10a so that I can install it on there. The experimental version is out. However, I'm waiting for the I'm waiting right now for the full version for the stable version to be released, but we'll see, because Google is basically moving away from side loading, where they're making side loading a lot more difficult, and they can go fuck themselves. So I'm basically gonna be moving over to Graphene by the grace of God, and then I'll be free from the tyranny of Google, of Google's Android, and I have a lot more control. And of course, there's going to be a major learning curve, but it's just, guys, they don't make escape free. Even now, I'm also learning how to decentralize food. So how do you guys, for example, how do you get access? How do you buy food from farmers directly? Many of you guys probably know this, but I didn't. You just go to a farmer's market. I mean, if you know farmers directly, you can actually you can have subscriptions. There's a variety of different ways that you can do this, actually, where you can basically buy a part of their, a share of their crops in advance, I believe, something like that. So you'll always get you'll get a certain amount of their produce, just maybe send it to you in the mail or whatever, or you can pick it up, or I think there's subscriptions, Or there's also, or you can just go to a farmer's market, and they actually sell directly at farmers markets. And some of these places, they even do things like bartering where you can trade stuff. So that's how you can buy your shit from a farmer directly. And that's like stuff I'm learning now so that I can escape the fucking system and move into parallel systems. How do you guys, you can still buy your music, guys. This is a shocker. I didn't know this. You can buy your music DRM free still. You can buy your songs from Amazon completely DRM free, the actual MP3s. You can buy your songs from iTunes still completely the MP from like virtually all songs you can still buy from Amazon and Apple DRM free. You can buy the MP3s and they're usually around $1.29 each. There's some people who are like, I'll never pay for music when I have when they're like, I have Spotify. You don't own shit on Spotify. You don't own shit. Google Apple Music, you don't own shit. All right? My music that's on my iPod right now, I own all of my music. It cannot be my song, they cannot be taken away from me. Yeah, what about when the power goes off? So you stupid motherfucker. If the power goes off, your phone, then you can't charge your phone either. And here's the thing. I have a power bank at home. If I can charge my device, even if there's no Wi-Fi, I can still listen to my music. If I have my game, like I use GOG for games, like I download DRM free games on GOG. If I download my games, like I have a bunch of like ROMs for like PlayStation 2 and other consoles, so like I do emulation. If I can charge my devices, I can play my fucking games without an internet connection. If the power goes out, as long as my iPod still works. If it runs out of power, then yeah, it's off. But my iPod still works. So the power goes out, my iPod is just fine. It doesn't connect to the internet. Okay? All I have to do is be able to charge it. That's it. So I can still listen to my music. You know? I can still listen to my music. I can still play my games. I have a bunch of GOG games. I have a bunch of emulated games. I have a Legion Go S and a Steam Deck. Right? I moved my games over to my SD card. Got to get the emulator set back up properly. But if power goes out, I can play my GOG games. Steam is a different story. Power goes out, as long as I can turn my fucking device on and it has power and I can charge it, I can play all of my AAA games and indies and whatever else that I have on there downloaded from GOG. I have a NAS, by the way, guys. I told you about this. I built a NAS recently. I'm going to continue talking about that in a moment. I need to take a pee. I need to take a pee. I got it. Uncle Angry needs to pee badly. I've been holding it off, but I gotta pee. I'll be right back in just a few minutes. All right? You guys can go do whatever else you have to do. I'll be right back in a few minutes. I gotta take this pee. Guys, I tell you, being a streamer is literally being a performer. I mean, it's like sometimes you basically have to go and pee in a bucket. I didn't pee in a bucket, but like a lot of performers, like you used to have to like stage performers. I remember Christina Aguilera, like years ago. I think it was Christina Aguilera. She basically like was showing like doing an interview, showing people like showing like interviewers how she performs, and she basically was like showing them backstage, and then she showed them her bucket. She showed them her bucket where she has to go pee sometimes, and people were like, I think people at the time were like, "This is so gross." But as I've gotten older now, I respect the fact that she showed them the bucket because that's what it means to perform. Like you don't even understand like how hard life is. And she was so nonchalant, like, and nope, that's the bucket where I have to go pee sometimes. It was like more like a pail, but it's like, bro, and like you're like thinking like, come on, dude, but that's how the world is. You have to fight. You have to like literally grind. You have to grind for survival. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy, guys. But I was saying to you, like, I've got GOG games on GOG is good old games, and it's DRM free. Like my shit works. My shit works. You know, I'm moving towards offline. Like they literally have these things. My next thing I want to do, I'll tell you about my NAS. Like, I bought a NAS. I set up my NAS. It was a 2 bay storage, and now I kind of regret it because I was like, I was trying to save. Like, it's like buy it nice or buy it twice. The thing is, like, sometimes you don't know until you do something. Like, I wouldn't know everything that I know now until I bought an iPod, and like, and that I could have bought a much better one for like a bit of money with a bit of research. And I didn't know that there's a thing called like I didn't know the difference between like the battery sizes, like a 650 milliamp battery or a 2000 milliamp battery. You know, I didn't know I didn't know these things. Guys, I'm gonna put you back on hold for just give me a quick moment. I'll be right back. So you know, he lives. He lives. Uncle Angry lives. Oh my gosh. I just had to step away for a moment. Again, it's always the unexpected shit. Oh, you guys like, what the fuck happened to Uncle Angry? Uncle Angry had to step away for a moment. Sometimes adult shit happens. Oh, fuck. And adults have to go take care of business. And some adult shit just happened. And Uncle Angry had to go take care of something. But now he's back. Back again. And you know you guys enjoy it. You guys love the shit talking. You love it. You love Uncle Angry shit talking. Okay? You wake up in the morning, you're like, did Uncle Angry talk some more shit? Did he put out another video talking some more shit again? And most of the time you're greeted with more of my shit talking. So yeah. Guys, right now it's all about decentralization. It's about walking away. And the coming years are going to be so transformative, because I said this before, that it takes a lot for society to collapse. And what we're looking at is that it's not society won't collapse. Groups of people in society will collapse. And I've said this plenty of times. I've warned you guys of this plenty of times, that what we're really going to see is we're going to see groups of people in society collapsing as things become much more difficult. Women are going to be the most affected segment. But you know who else is going to begin to collapse? The baby boomers. Because the baby boomers have lived off the system from their inception. Okay? They don't know how to survive without the system. And to make matters worse, they're now old. So the only thing they can do is try to milk the system as much as they can, while also making demands of their kids and trying to force their kids to take care of them, provide for them, and subsidize them when they reach a point where they can no longer provide for themselves or subsidize themselves. And these boomer parents, they didn't want to be in the lives of their grandkids. They didn't want to raise their own kids. So they weren't there to help their kids. They weren't there, for those of them that do have grandkids, they weren't there to drive their grandkids to school, to watch your grandkids after school. None of that shit. They weren't involved. But now they want to be a part of your household. Now they want a multi-generational household. The same parents that put you out at 18 now want a multi-generational household, but where they're now too old to contribute to anything, and they don't want to contribute, but they want to live in your home, have you provide them, protect them, take care of them, be there for them when they need to be taken to doctor's appointments and everything else, while allowing them as much autonomy and freedom as they possibly can continue to maintain. So they want to be able to still go out and party and have their fun, but you to clean up the mess later and take accountability. Guys, they didn't have us. They had us for selfish reasons. This is something that many of us don't want to acknowledge, is that our parents, our baby boomer parents, those of us who are children of the boomers, our parents had us for selfish fucking reasons. They didn't have, all right? And many of us were also what we call backshot babies, all right? Like, basically, you wonder why your father doesn't love you. You wonder why your parents don't love you. Bro, you were never intended. You were not intended for this world. You were 99% of us were not planned. Don't let anyone tell you the difference. 99% of us were not planned. Okay? We were mistakes. Mistakes. My parents kept having kids to the point where my father started lashing out because he didn't want to take accountability for what he had done. My mother didn't want to take accountability. My father didn't want to take accountability. They just kept having kids. They kept having kids irresponsibly, and then wanted to blame and they fucking hated us. They fucking hated us. So that's how it is for most children of boomers. You know, my mommy was great. Yeah, well, my mommy was a bitch. Like, bro, these motherfuckers don't want to acknowledge the fact that most of us were not wanted by our parents. Okay? We were backshot babies. Backshot babies, all right? It's hard to hear, but it's the motherfucking truth. It's ripping the fucking Band-Aid off. That whole you have to forgive, you forgive your parent, you have to forgive your parents. That's what the boomers like to scream. Basically allowing them to get away with the bullshit that they've done so that so they don't face consequences. Nah, that's not what it's. No, you can't go to heaven if yeah, we're done with that. We're done with the emotional guilt. We're done with the emotional guilt. We're done with the religious guilt. We're done with all of that shit. Right now, it's called survival. You're going to hell. That's all they have, guys. Silent shame, insults, guilt, gaslighting because they need to be right or else they can't survive any other way. That the era of fuck around is over. The era of find out has arrived. And everyone who was fucking around is now finding out. That's what's really happening right now. Men are done with this shit. Men are done with the bullshit. They're done with the lies. They're done with the gaslighting. Men are done with that shit. Done with that shit. You know what's fucked up? I accidentally closed Rumble Studio. So now I have to like work my way. I have to go and I have to work my way back into Rumble Studio. Craziest of crazy things. But yeah, I did find my way back in. Did find my way back in, but I you know what's fucked up? All the chat, like I had all the chats, so like there were all the chats and the comments that were made, and now they're all gone. That's what happens when you close. So like all the comments that you had, all the beautiful comments that you guys made. And I wanted to go back and read the comments, and they don't save them. That's the fucked up thing. It's not like they save them. Like it's basically like browser based. So it's like if you leave, your comments are fucking gone. Your comments are fucking gone. Like Rumble Studio is fucked up in that way. Interestingly enough, there's like 8 people watching on Rumble. So that's an improvement. That's an improvement considering how bad, like it was like no one to begin with. That's an improvement. We've got like 8 people on Rumble. Like shout out to the 8 people watching on this on Rumble. Shout out to those 8. Shout out to the Grateful 8. Let's listen to some of this Man Guide video. Let's see what Man Guide has to say. What Man Guide and these and the ladies are saying.
Dude, being single is freaking sucky and it's freaking hard. Like, everybody's like, oh, but you're so young. And it's like, yeah, I know I have time, whatever. But it's like, dude, some days you just get sick of it. You're like, I have nobody to come home to. I have nobody to make plans with ever. I have nobody's freaking family to spend time with. Like, it's just freaking sucky. And then
I have no one's family to spend time with. Guys, check that out. They have. Do you see how women actually now they're telling the truth. They're letting it slip out. I have no one's family to spend time with because I have no family of my own. So, guys, they don't have their own family, their own parents to go and spend time with. So they need someone else's family. They need a man's family to spend time with. Do you realize that men basically have to bring everything to the relationship? Men have to bring the money. They have to bring the protection. They have to even bring their own family because women don't bring any of that. Holy shit. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, go ahead. Don't forget you can buy me a Red Bull by using, the link in the description of the video. It's also pinned in the chat. You can buy me a Red Bull, be a champ and buy throw a coin to your Witcher. It's linked in the description of the video. Buy me a coffee. It's the link is in the description. You can buy me a Red Bull. It's linked in the description. And it's also linked in the chat over on YouTube. But yeah, guys, I mean, there you go. They guys, and the thing is, they're like, oh, I have time. No, you don't have time, sweetie. Those years, you're wasting them away. The women who are telling you that you have time are the ones who wasted away their years. And now they're basically trying to convince you that everything will be fine. The single women who basically are miserable and alone right now are trying, because misery loves company, are trying to convince you that you can basically go down the same path as them and end up exactly like them. Like all of these women with their masters and PhDs and medical degrees who have nothing to show for it except massive loans to student loan debt and personal debt, are trying to get young women to repeat the same exact thing. Oh, I'm 27 years old, but I have time. Bro, you're almost out of time. The moment you turn 30, like even 29 is pushing it. You don't Smart women do not want to be childless and single at 30 years old. You want to have, for most women should be having their first kid by around maybe in like age 20 or 22. You're like, what? Angry? How is that even possible? That's because most women should not be going to college. Most men shouldn't be going to college today. College is a fucking scam. But women definitely shouldn't be going to college. And like I said, it's not a gender thing. It's everyone. No one in their right mind should be going to college right now for the most part. Most people should not be going to college. Most people. All right. Maybe like airline, if you want to be a pilot, don't even say doctor. Forget about being doctors, or maybe a lawyer. And by the way, people don't even realize you can become a lawyer without going to law school. Like a lot of places, you could do an apprenticeship and you can basically learn and study law through a law firm, and then take the bar degree, and then you take like the baby bar, and then take the actual bar, and you can become a lawyer like that. That's one option that does exist for, I don't know if it's in every state, but it's in some states. So you don't actually have to even go to law school to be a lawyer. Here's another shocker for you. To be a judge, many states in America, like at the local level, you don't actually have to be a lawyer to be a judge. Many judges in America are not actual lawyers. They never went to law school, none of that. You can be appointed as a judge in America without actually going to law school. It's a shocking thing. I was shocked to discover it, but many of the judges who serve locally in America never went to law school. They're not actually lawyers. You don't actually have to be a lawyer to be a judge. This is, I know, at certain levels, like if you're going to be on like the Supreme Court or federal court, certain courts, yeah, you're going to need to be but like for like a lot of local courts now, you can actually be a judge without being a lawyer, without ever stepping foot into law school, without even really knowing anything effectively about law. It's crazy how fucked up and fragmented the system actually is. But that just goes to show you. And you got these women who are basically like, I'm only 27. I know I have time. Bro, you're pretty like you don't have time. Like if I were in your shoes, I would basically like the choices that women have are getting thinner and thinner. Women don't realize that as more men walk away, they're not coming back. And the men who do want a relationship, they're not going back to American women. They're going overseas. And a lot of these dudes, they're taking a break in between. So they're like, you know what? I'm just going to relax for like maybe the next 10 years. And then maybe I'll go to the Philippines. I'm exaggerating with the 10 year thing, although some dudes are literally like that right now. Like, yeah. I'm not an MGTOW. I'm an MWA. I want to have kids someday. I want to have a partner someday. Maybe a good 10 to 20 years. What do you mean 10 to 20 years? Listen, I'm only 40 years old. 40 years old, 20 years. You're 60. Yeah, I'm still a young man. I've got time. This is how a lot of men are thinking right now. A lot of men, as they get older, they're realizing that they've got plenty of time. Because their money is growing, their health is getting better, their wealth is getting better, and as we get older as men, we tend to become more masculine. As women get older, they tend to look less feminine because femininity is tied to youth, while masculinity is often tied to age. So as men get older, the older we get, the more the perception of our perception of masculinity, the way we're perceived as masculine, changes as we get older, because age is linked to the perception of masculinity in men, while youth is linked to the perception of femininity in women. So a woman's best shot at securing a man is when she's actually young. When she's, after she turns 18, she needs to go to work and start looking for the best man that she can get, settle down and have some kids. Someone said this very well. Like, before a woman ever thinks about going to school or pursuing a college degree or even an MD, she should already have her house. She should already have her husband, She should have already had she already been married, have her husband, have her kids, and then she can talk about those other things. All right. I know a woman, like, for example, I met her, this was like years ago, and she was like, I don't know how, I think she was like maybe, I don't know, she was like 38, and she was like now just starting her career. She was working at a bank, and she was like just now starting her career. And I said to her, I was like talking to her, I was like, I know she was 38, she could have been a little younger. And she told me like all her kids were grown. I was like, what? She's like, I was like, no. I was like, no, you can't be that much older than me. She's like, my kids are grown. I started when I was young. And she was Mexican. She was gorgeous. She was a baddie. Hardcore baddie. And she already had her kids, and her kids were already grown. And a lot of Mexicans, they start early. Like, I'm talking, like, when I say early, I mean really early. Okay, like high school early. But guess what? Her kids were already grown. And now she was starting her career. You know what the irony is? That she didn't have any of that baggage, that student loan debt, or any of that other bullshit that so many people have. She had her kids, she had her man, she had all of that, and now she was starting a career. And you know what the fucked up thing is? I'm telling you, she's in the exact same place starting now as people who've been working there for 20 years. And that's the biggest disgrace. She's starting at the same level as the people as the women who started 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and have no children, no husband, no children, nothing to show for it. And they're making the same amount of money. That's what a lot of people don't even realize. Like, so many of us who are late Gen Xers, Zennials, our older millennials, we know that, like, we know the system, how rigged it is now. Like, they make you believe that, oh, you're getting you're going to make more money than someone, who starts out fresh. The bullshit, but the reality is that a lot of people, most people now, let's say you make, $20 an hour, and then someone comes and they apply for the job, right? So these people end up making the same $20 an hour, or in some cases, they might get $22 an hour or $23 an hour. You're like, how the hell are they getting $23 an hour? They're getting $23 an hour because no one is going to accept $20 an hour anymore. But why am I getting $20 an hour? Because you were basically working there for so long, and now they can pay you less because you're more invested in the company. So they got you by the balls. But someone coming fresh in, they're going to demand more. So so basically you're a fool. You're basically stuck around and now we're in an era where, like, companies are like, yeah, college degrees aren't really worth shit. We're hiring based on performance, like, skills. So, like, if you have the skills to do the job, we'll give you the job. But yeah, we'd much rather hire you than some Gen Zer out of college, because they're like, this is the reality right now. And it's like Google, Microsoft, all of these big companies have gotten rid of their college degree requirements, and now they're hiring skill-based. Welcome to the real world. And for years, for like a decade or more, CEOs, got to give them credit. A lot of CEOs, very wealthy, like business, like, it wasn't like, forget about like the Microsoft companies, but we're talking about like on YouTube. A lot of real world CEOs kept on warning young people, that no one gives a fuck about your job. No one gives a fuck about your job, and no one gives a fuck about your GPA. In fact, if you show up at a company with like a 4.0 GPA, you're going to have to explain to some of these people, why did you choose to do that? Why did you choose to go and get a 4.0 GPA? Because typically what a 4.0 GPA means, especially at, let's say, a graduate level, is that you are not doing anything else. You are not doing research. You are not doing anything else productive. A lot of high GPAs are a sign of unproductivity. Many of the people, here's the crazy thing about high GPAs. If you have a very high GPA, you can actually end up being scrutinized more than a person who has a lower GPA. In other words, a person with a 4.0 can end up being scrutinized more than a person with a 3.1, especially in things like something like engineering. The reason why is because if you have a really high GPA, it strongly suggests memorization over application and comprehension. people who tend to comprehend, they may not have the higher GPA, but they have a higher level of comprehension. People who have the higher GPAs often have lower levels of actual comprehension and simply memorization in real world application. So if this is one of the things that a lot of employers, listen, I'll give you an example. One of my friends, I had a friend, we're not friends anymore. This motherfucker actually hit me up like after 10 years, hits me up. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. This motherfucker, because many of you guys know, like, I went through homelessness over 10 years ago. This motherfucker, and this guy this was like my best friend. This motherfucker abandoned me, and he was on top of the world, abandoned me when I was at my lowest. And over 10 years later, now the motherfucker, I even tried to reach out to him like 6 years ago. He never responded. Then the motherfucker responds like fucking, he responds like a couple of years ago telling me that he's just seeing the email. He's just seeing the email that I sent to him like 4 years earlier, like 3 or 4 years earlier. And then like a year ago, like last year, he sends me another email because I never respond to the fucker, saying that he wants to know if I want to touch base again, bring our friendship back. Bro, are you fucking kidding me? You were on top of the world. You fucking threw a 20-year friendship away. Like, we knew each other since we were in high school. And now out of nowhere, let me guess, life is hard. Like, all right, people have passed away. Maybe your parents passed away, siblings passed away, or, you lost your job, or maybe you got married. You probably got married because you were being a simp. You got married, and, you lost half your shit, and you're fucked. And now you're looking for old Uncle Angry to come and comfort you because you remember he was the best friend you ever had. All right, you even acknowledged that I was a real fucking friend, and now you're used by like all those fake people, and now after all that shit, you have nothing left. Your life is miserable, and suddenly you're reaching out to Uncle Angry like, hey, Uncle Angry, hey, you want to be friends again? Are you out of your fucking mind? That's how fucked up people are. People are so fucked up. Or that's the reality of the world. I know I was just kind of like rambling off for a little bit. I know I rambled off a little bit, but that's how it is. And you've got women reaching out to men now. Yeah, like Angry Dominicano. He told me like I think he was the one telling me like, yeah, like people like women reaching out to him, like ex-girlfriends reaching out to him after fucking years, like, hey man, how's it going, bro? Want to go out and get something to eat? Like, get the fuck out of here, guys. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. And by the way, things are happening right now across the world. You know what's happening? No matter what the recruiter says, do not get on the bus, guys. Listen to me. Y'all know what's happening out there. No matter what the military recruiter says, don't get on the fucking bus. I don't give a fuck if they tell you like you're going to jail. Let the police come. Tell them straight. Okay, that's perfectly fine. We'll wait for law enforcement. No, you're currently under arrest, and you have to get onto the you have to get on the bus. Okay, well, then you need to read me my rights. I'm choosing to remain silent. Listen, either you get on or we'll carry you on. I understand, and I'm choosing to remain silent. Do you not love your country? Do you not love your country? Are you a traitor? Do you hate your country that much, young man? You hate your country? I don't hate my country. I'm just not getting onto your fucking bus. We'll wait for the police to arrive. I told you we are the police. No, you're the military. We're the military police. Like, can I see your identification? No. All right, you can see the uniform. Get onto the fucking bus. No, I'm not getting onto the fucking bus. We're gonna carry you onto the bus. Okay, but I'm not getting onto the bus. I'm not moving here, and I'm exercising my rights to remain silent. It doesn't matter what the military recruiter says. Do not get on the bus, because as soon as you get on the bus, they own your ass. They own your ass. They can't. And here's the thing: they may not be able to carry you on the bus, but they can carry you off the bus. And once they get you on the bus, and the bus, they're like, "Oh, you think you're going to county jail?" That's another way they fool some of y'all idiots. All right. Some of y'all are used to going to jail and prison, so you think that it's a jail bus. All right. You think that it's a jail bus or a prison bus, so they think they're taking you off to jail, and you get on the bus and you're like, oh fuck it, I'm going to jail, because I'm not going, because I sure as hell I'm not going to the military to go fuck around overseas, and then it pulls up pulls up at basic training, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And they couldn't get you. See, they couldn't carry you onto the bus, but they can carry you off the bus because you're like, I'm not getting off the fucking bus. I'll piss on the bus. I'll shit on the bus if I have to. I'm not getting off this bus. And they're like, oh no, sergeant, no, private, your ass is ours. You got onto that bus. We didn't force you on that bus. It was coercion. No, I don't give a fuck. All right. Either you get off or we're going to drag you off. You're like, you can't touch me. They have to pick you up and drag you off. All right. And you're like, I want to go to jail. You're like, I want to go to jail. Like, we got army jail for you. What do you mean army jail? We got army jail for you, little buddy. All right, military, and that's. But you're not going to big boy. You're like, I want to go to big boy jail. No. This isn't big boy jail. And there's tests before you can even get there. All right. You're at basic training, all right? Now do as we're told. They'll start screaming in your ear. They'll start screaming in your ear. Listen to me, y'all. Let me tell you something. They tell you all kinds of bullshit about they have to show you respect and everything. Listen to me, you'll be surprised. Y'all be surprised. All right? Sergeant just slapped, like, you're like, I'm not complying. They slapped the shit out of you. You're like, what the fuck? Did you just hit me? Yeah, listen to me. What do you think? You think it was sunshine and roses? You can't do that. Yeah? Says who? All right? You sound like guys, this is a whole different world. Do not get on, no matter what the sergeant says, do not get on the bus. Do not get onto the fucking bus, all right? Don't get on the bus. Don't get on the bus. Gen Z is lazy. They're not getting, most of them aren't getting on that fucking bus, so they're going to be rolling up trying to scoop up older millennials and some Gen Xers. They better be careful with Gen X because it's fuck around, find out. But they're coming for a lot of you millennials. So to my millennial listeners, be careful. Be on alert. Be on alert. Be on alert, young man. Be on alert. Oh shit. A lot of y'all gonna have to go serve and protect. Fight for freedom. Fight for freedom. There's countries that need some freedom. Let me see this. Steve said that I was talking about like not a lot of people on Rumble. Rumble sucks, but I follow some people who are demonetized on other platforms, so here I am. All right. Let me see here. Let me see here. Ninja says that there's nothing that makes me piss my pants more than women complaining in cars. That's a good channel title for them. Complaining in cars. Thomas, I of course like change the word, but yeah. Thomas says, let me see here. Yeah, this is regarding, many of y'all don't know about filial laws. A lot of filial responsibility laws originated from English poor laws from across the pod. So many of you guys don't know what a filial law is, but let me Google it for you. Filial, but it's basically related to the jerk baby boomers and what they're planning. Let me pull it up so I can properly explain it. So, filial responsibility laws are state-level statutes that impose a legal duty on adult children to financially support their indigent parents or other relatives when those parents cannot afford basic needs like food, shelter, and medical care. These laws typically apply when a parent lacks sufficient resources and public benefits such as Medicaid are insufficient to cover their costs. So, guys, I never knew this, that Medicaid actually does provide food. Yeah, they actually, like, people on, like, a lot of these motherfuckers on Medicaid actually do get money for food. A lot of old people actually do get money for food on Medicaid, which is unbelievable. But if the Medicaid is not enough to cover their expenses, then things like, public benefits, then basically they can turn to their adult children using these laws and force them to financially support them. These laws typically apply when parents lack sufficient resources and public benefits such as Medicaid are insufficient to cover their costs. Enforcement is often initiated by nursing homes, long-term care facilities, or government agencies seeking reimbursement for unpaid bills. Bro, These motherfucking boomers, guys, they're going to use the Filial laws. If you don't think they're going to be using Filial laws against us, you don't know what's coming. Enforcement is often initiated by these groups. Approximately 26 to 30 states retain some form of filial responsibility law, though enforcement frequency varies significantly by jurisdiction. Bro, this is wild. Liability is generally determined by the adult children's financial ability to pay the parents. Liability is generally determined by the adult children's financial ability to pay, the parents' level of need, and specific statutory defenses in that state. The concept originates from the Elizabethan Poor Law of 1601, which established the principle that families should support indigent members before relying on public aid. Yeah, they're coming for a lot of you. They're coming for a lot of you motherfuckers. They're coming for a lot of you motherfuckers. The same parents that kicked you out at 18, sometimes 16 or sooner than that. They're coming for y'all. Baby boomers, this is just a part of their final hurrah. Their final fuck you. Let me see here. Max says college shit. Nobody is going to be able to go anywhere unless they walk. Let me see here. Monkey says more people need to listen to you. I agree with you on that. Thomas says if I were elected to public office, I would turn our fearless leader into Judge Angry. Oh man. Ninja says regarding the fact that men can have children at any time, Al Pacino had a kid at around 60. Plus, older men can still kick back. Guys, Sylvester Stallone looks amazing. He looks amazing. He's pushing 80 years old right now, and he has he has these beautiful daughters. He has 3 beautiful daughters. One of his sons passed away, and another son has some serious health issues, and he has 3 beautiful daughters, and he's pushing 80. They're all in their 20s. 3 beautiful daughters. He had them later in life. He had them maybe in his, let me see, 66, 80. Yeah, he had them, I guess, in his late 50s. And these kids he had these kids his freaking fucking 50s. And at almost 80 years old, he looks amazing. He's still acting. He's still acting. He's doing it quite a bit. All right. Fit. He's crazy fit. He's one of those strong men like Arnold Schwarzenegger who still goes to the gym. All right, he's in amazing shape. He looks amazing. He's dressed the way he dresses now is very much this decade. It's unbelievable how he looks. And this is him at almost 80 years old. Trump Trump is another example. Let me check Donald Trump. Let me see how old this guy is. How old is Trump? Donald Trump age. I think he's turning 80 this year. He's 79. Donald Trump is 79 years old. He was born on June 14, 1946 in Queens, New York. All right. There you go. So he'll be 80 years old this year. 80 years old. And he'll be 80 years old, and he still has kids who are in their 20s. Let me see. How old is Tiffany Trump? Check out Tiffany. Okay. Tiffany Trump is 32 years old. I'm surprised she's that old. She was born in 93. Okay. And let's see, how old is Barron? Let's check this out. Barron is 20, 21 now. That's to be 20 now, maybe. Barron Trump is 20 years old, having been born in March 20th, 2020, March 20th, 2006. So he has a 20-year-old son in college. All right. He has a granddaughter named Kai Trump, who's actually right around Barron's age. All right. She's 19. Let me see. How old is Kai Trump? She's probably around 19, or she'll be 19 this year. She's 18. Yeah. Kai Trump, that's his granddaughter. She's pretty close. She's really close to him. She's like in her fucking podcast, and she's going to the UFC with him. Kai Trump is 18 years old. She was born on May 20th, 2007. So yeah, she, as of April 2026, she has not yet turned 19. So like, there you go. It even acknowledges by AI, like she'll be 18, she'll be 19 next month. So if you look at Trump, like that's another example. And again, regardless of how you feel about him, it's like, yeah, guys, things are very, very different these days for a lot of people, for a lot of men. You can basically start a family in your 50s. I mean, my mother's father had a bunch of kids when he was an old man, late in life. It was normal back in those days for men to have multiple families and take care of those families all on one income. That just shows you how fucked up the income situation is right now. I saw this woman complaining on social media about how inflation and how money is worth shit, and saying that, a good example is that men used to have two families and be able to take care of two families on one income. And it's true. You had the primary family and then you had the family on the side, and he was taking care of both. But it's not like that. It's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. It's a load of, it's insane. It's insane, guys. But yeah, we got to be careful with these filial laws. The fucking boomers are coming for something. The boomers are coming for a lot of y'all. Boomers are coming for a lot of you motherfuckers. All right. Gen X is different. Gen X is a fuck around, find out generation. And listen, Gen X throws hands. And it's like, for example, like Angry Dominicano, dude used to box. Dude used to be a boxer. I'm just saying, like, a lot of Gen Xers can fight, and their parents have been fucking around for a minute, and this is the find out era. So they really better be careful with those Gen X kids. Really be careful with those Gen X kids, because Gen X throws hands, and they still have a lot of trauma from their childhood. Like, they remember all the bullshit that their parents put them through and did to them. So it's like, I don't know. These parents, like, all right, keep fucking around with you. Like, you can try that shit with the millennials, but they really better be careful with Gen X if they think they're gonna pop up at 50 when Gen X is like 53, and they're now like pushing 80, and they're like, okay, you need to subsidize me. You got to give me a place to live, food to eat, and some pocket money. All right, because mommy and daddy love to party. Get the fuck out of here. You see here. Ninja says those recruits better be real fucking careful whose door they bang on. Yeah, that is the truth though. They better be careful with Gen X. Everyone better be careful. Oh my gosh. Steve responds in response to Kai Trump. He says Kai Trump can get it. Yeah, bro. Damn. I actually think her friend, she has like this friend, a brunette friend. I actually think her brunette friend is more attractive. But then they all kind of act like, I don't know. I wouldn't mess around with Kai. I would not mess around with any of the Trumps. I would have messed with Ivanka. Ivanka is the only Trump I would have fucked around with. I'm just being real. Okay? And now, hell no. Like she married this other dude. But like, I think like that's how, like, I think growing up, a lot of us had that, like, it's not like you don't want to admit to it, but a lot of us had like everyone was crushing on Ivanka Trump. Trump was crushing on Donald was crushing on Ivanka Trump. Let me. There was a meme. There was a meme. I wish I could show you. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find Donald meme. Her father. Let me see, like, guys, the meme is so fucking hilarious. Let me see if I can find this fucking meme. Her father, her first love. Let me see here. Oh man, I'm trying to find the fucking meme. Trying to find this fucking meme. It's such a, guys, like, it's like you look up these pictures and like this is like shit that's like just like this is shit that's just like from images. Like you search for like Ivanka and Donald, and it was like these are like real pictures, and I cannot even put a lot of them out there, but I can't even like show you the screen like this, and this is like just Google searches, and these are real fucking pictures. Like holy shit. Holy shit. But yeah, guys, there was a meme, and it was like, the meme was like, it showed something like, you know, her father, and it shows Donald Trump, and it says like, it shows like her first love, and it shows like this guy, it shows like her father, her brother, and then like her first love, and like a bunch of different guys, and then it says you, and it shows Donald Trump all over again, basically in love with his daughter, bro. And guys, you know what's so guys? I can't, guys. It's so fucked up. Like I literally just searched like Donald Trump and Ivanka, and the pictures there, you know, like and you click on images. I cannot safely show you this page. I cannot. If you literally just type, and these are all real pictures of Trump and Ivanka sharing daddy-daughter moments, and I honestly cannot mess around with, like, holy shit. Guys, talk about waking up. And seeing things with clear eyes. Holy fuck. This is what evil world we live in. We check this out. Thomas says 70-plus-year-old Cotton Hill got his candy striper Diddy knocked up in King of the Hill. Yeah, that is true. Oh, Cotton got his candy stripper Diddy knocked up in. Oh, she was a stripper. I didn't know she was a stripper. Yeah, that's another, guys. Even in King of the Hill, that's another good point. Even in King of the Hill, Cotton had another, like Hank, I think it was Hank Jr. Cotton had another kid, even at that age. And now he's a teenager. Let me check this out here. Thomas says, love him or hate him, POTUS, president of the United States, is a gangster. He's got 5 kids from 3 baby mamas. He's been arrested and also been SHOT. Yeah, and and I also toss in, he has like 36 felonies. 30. That's some shit, bro. He's got 5 kids from 3 different baby mamas. 5 kids, 3 baby mamas. Okay, he's got 36, been arrested and charged and convicted, 36 felonies, and he's been, and we all know what happened. All right, like his guys, he has more. You do have to admit, he really lives that thug. Listen to me. I'll tell you right now, I don't agree with a lot of the things that are happening right now. I 100% do not. I'm not siding with it. Like, I'm not like jumping into it, but I will say this. He really does live that thug life. He really 100% is about that life. You know, born in Jamaica, Queens. Holy shit. He really there's this perception that New Yorkers are dangerous. Like, bro, and you know the thing about Donald Trump is that before he ran for president, he was very popular with all the rappers. You could see that Donald Trump was the kind of guy that you would run into in front of a bodega at like 3 a.m. and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Oh no, Trump is just in the streets. Trump is in the streets. Guys, that was the fucked up thing about Donald Trump. That's so fucked up. Dude would be out there going to grab a bite at a bodega at 3 a.m. All right, like shaking hands with the brothers, with the blacks and the Latinos. All right, this dude was something else. This was the normal for Donald Trump, so there's no surprise that this is the kind of life. This is how he's acting in office. All right. Telling y'all, oh my gosh. Ninja says, like, I guess regarding the Filial laws where the boomers are going to come after you millennials and take your shit, make you pay for their shit. He says some older millennials aren't going to take society shit either. Fuck around and find out. Let's see here. Let me see here. Oh, come on. Ah, it was Good Hank. I remember King of the Hill. Hank's baby brother is named Good Hank or Good. Yeah, I guess it is Good Hank. Some shit like that. Thomas says Candy Stripper, the medical role. Celtic says rappers all love Ric Flair and Donald JT. Yeah, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Steve says, put this right here. Steve says, we Xennials did throw hands, not only at the bus stop or at the park, but sometimes with our boomer dads. Yeah, this is what I was getting at, guys. This is why I was warning about, like, you really don't want to mess with, like, Xennials or late Gen X. You really don't want to mess with Gen X. That's what I was really getting at. So we Xennials did throw hands, not only at the bus stop or at the park, but sometimes with our boomer dads. Yeah. Yeah, that's like there were a lot of Gen Xers who threw hands with their parents. Like, you're like, old man, like, you know, old man fucked around and found out. Old man really thought he was the man of the house, big man of the house, and oh, I'm throwing you out. Fuck you. That's actually how a lot of Gen Xers ended up getting thrown out of the house when they finally said fuck this shit, and they whooped their dad's ass. Like, okay, big man, you think you're a really big man? Yeah, motherfucker. And the crazy thing is that, like, you have to remember that, like, people had kids when they were younger back then, so you had some 18-year-old who whooped like a 36-year-old's ass. Like, their father's like 36, 37. Can you imagine the idea? Like, 36, 37 is young today. Like, you should be like at your fucking prime at 37 years old. At 37, you should be at your fucking prime. Like, you've had 20 years to work on your body and, like, get your, like, you should be fucking Hercules at 37, 38 years old. And some 18-year-old just whooped your ass. All right, some 18-year-old who fucking, like, works at 7-Eleven had enough of your shit and he put you on your fucking ass. That used to happen a lot back in the day. Like, there were some Gen Xers who used to. It's an unspoken truth. Some Gen Xers used to whoop their father's ass, and that was usually the last straw before they got thrown out. But they used to whoop that ass. It wasn't always the other way around where you had like abusive parents and, like, no. So some Gen Xers used to whoop ass. All right, like you fuck around too much, you find out. Gen X throws hands. Thomas says angry comedian. It's so fucked up because, like, I had all of those amazing comments. I like to take my time going through your comments. And there's like all of those amazing comments that you guys had written, and I lost it. When I closed it because it was an accident. Because, like, the way I had set it up, I had like the window on some other side and everything. But yeah, guys, I'm just so happy. Like, like I said, I don't know if you guys mentioned my student loan thing, you know. And thanks to anyone who may have celebrated with me finally getting out of student loan debt, not having any more student loans. I have, as far as I know, like, I paid my taxes, so, like, I don't owe the IRS shit. There was a couple of years where I was like just like crying, but I don't owe the IRS shit. Paid my taxes, you know, sent checks off. Realistically, I pay online, and, you know, they got their money. And my student loans, I'm like that's the, like, I got my letter. I have my fucking letter letting me know that, like, yeah, congrats, angry, you're good. Like, you don't have to pay those student. You're done. And, like, you know, and it's like to be for, like, first time in 25 years not having student loans to deal with. So I didn't get to see any of your comments because I was basically going on for a long time. I didn't get to see any of your comments regarding me finally being free from student loans. But thanks to anyone who may have sent some well wishes regarding that, because that is such a massive turning point in my life right now. It took me years, guys. I started the process of dealing with these loans years ago, and it took years. It took so many years, but holy shit. Steve says regarding the baby boomers, too much sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yeah, they're still at it. They're still at it. They're gonna drag us to hell with them. Fucking bastards. Thomas says, children of narcissist parents will have a rude awakening with these filial responsibility laws. Absolutely. Yeah, the guys, the baby boomers are 100% coming for their kids. I'm telling you right now, you see what's happening right now with like Donald Trump, where like not like the Trump administration, where like they're turning like student loans who are in like delinquencies. I think it's going to be all student loans. They're turning them over to the Treasury Department for collection, so they can go directly after collections, garnishing wages, and holding tax returns. It's not a game anymore. They're basically shifting all of the responsibility back onto people. All right. And they're like, for example, even getting things like Medicaid is going to be really, really difficult now, because like, there's like work requirements for Medicaid, work requirements for like Section 8 for like these things now. Like, so if you have kids, you're going to have to go and work a certain number of like days a week or be in a training program to keep your Medicaid and to keep this is what's happening on the Trump. Like, it's no game. So baby boomers, they basically thought that they were going to the free ride was going to last forever. We are guys, the country is broke. And this is basically how the boomers are going to do it now. Like, they know the system because they helped build the system, and they're going to turn to the filial laws, and the same kids that they wanted to have nothing to do with, that they gave nothing to, did nothing for, and made it very clear they would not help. They're going to basically use the system now to try and extract whatever money they can from these evil people are going to try to extract whatever wealth they can from their kids who are basically struggling to survive. Like, it's insane. And it's crazy. They didn't want to help. They want to be a part of a intergenerational household, but they didn't contribute to it, and they don't actually want to help. They don't actually want to be a part. They just want to live there and have you subsidize them. Ninja says, fuck the filial laws. I'll ditch America after getting rich on crypto. Password bro, all the way, motherfuckers. It's not about getting rich on crypto. It's about developing stability, finding balance, and having your passport ready to go. That's the honest to goodness truth. Once you have your money in order, not when you're a millionaire, once you have your shit together, like you have enough money, because you don't need a ton of money to go overseas. All right. If you have like $20,000, no real debt. If you have like $20,000, no real debt, and you have a way of generating income, leave the fucking country. Even if you have debt, leave the fucking country. Take your savings, go overseas, work remotely, focus on your business, build over there, and never look back. That's what a lot of people do. That's what most men are doing. They go overseas. A lot of women think that men are going overseas just to go and find women. No, they're not. A lot of passport kings go overseas not to find a woman, but to basically find freedom, to escape from the system. That's the thing that they don't realize. A lot of them don't realize it. It's about escape. It's about getting away from a system that they no longer believe in, that they basically see no value in. That's really what's happening with a lot of men who are walking away. They're leaving the system behind because they see the system as being too far, too broken, too corrupt, too damaged, and they're like, yeah, we'll take our chances. We'll take our chances overseas. That's the real true reality.
I don't know, you guys. Like, honestly, most days I'm chill. I'm okay with like being single, but like some days you just get so sick of it and you just feel so alone, and you're like, literally, where is this person that I'm supposed to spend like all of eternity with? Like, where are they? And it just gets hard, and you're like, are they even coming? Like, genuinely, I don't know. They
think someone is coming to save them. They all believe that God is going to send the perfect person to come and save them, y'all. They have no realization that it's done. The party is over right now. The herd is thinning out. Their options are, it's not even, guys, even women who are in their early 20s don't have those options anymore. And they're still listening to older women who are telling them that they have time. They have, like, guys, it's like they are so disconnected from reality. They refuse to accept reality at all, that they are rejecting what's actually happening in the world right now. And instead, basically thinking that men are going to come, that some man is going to save them, some millionaire or billionaire is going to, and he's not just going to be a millionaire or billionaire, but he's going to have all of these qualities, okay? All of these perfect qualities. He's going to be perfect, like God made him just for them. Bro, the delusion.
Oh, and sometimes there's just no hope. And yeah, just check on your single friends, because we're holding it together. And some people genuinely are, like, so happy being single, they don't even think about being with anybody else, and that is totally fine. I wish I was like that. And I don't think about my singleness every second of the day, but some days it's just so freaking hard to keep it together and act like I don't want that, because I want it so bad. So yeah, anyway.
By now, I'm sure we are all familiar with this male loneliness epidemic. And let me just tell you, my personal opinion on this is that men can never be lonely enough. But there have also been a couple things that have happened recently where I'm like, you know what? Maybe you guys are getting lonely. So there was this guy that I went on a couple of dates with, and then, I don't know, told him I wasn't interested, and I saw him recently, and he was like, hey, by the way, I unfollowed you on Instagram. And I looked at him, I was like, no, you didn't. And he was like, yeah, I did. As soon as you said that you weren't interested, I immediately unfollowed you on Instagram. And I was like, you literally are like the first person to look at all of my stories. Like, you definitely still follow me on Instagram. You literally liked my selfie yesterday. Obviously, he was like embarrassed. And he's like, yeah, because like you still pop up in my DMs. I'm like, well, I don't DM you. So I saw this morning that he had viewed my Instagram story. So I messaged him and I was like, being in the top 10 views, first views, and no follow back is crazy. And he goes, just finished my coffee, had to get my morning creep session in. Like, I can't with you guys, okay?
As men, we were told that we are not needed. We are good listeners. They need us more than we need them. Never forget those kings.
No, males are not choosing, but
Oh, yes, they are.
I do find it hilarious how they are all like, yeah, we're done with women. That's why we're all single, because we chose to be done with women.
You know, if someone tells you something often enough, maybe you should start believing them, because, yeah, a lot of men are just completely done with dating.
You guys didn't choose that. You know you didn't choose that.
Oh, but they did. What exactly is so hard to believe about that?
You know that right now women are becoming really picky and not choosing men that all they do is bring a paycheck.
Like I said before, there's a lot of women that are very upset that a lot of guys are actually choosing to be single because they want all of the power for themselves and to be able to dictate who they date. It is incomprehensible to some that guys actually can choose who to date.
Although there are still women out there who will accept that. And I suggest you go find them and leave us alone.
Oh, I don't think that'll be a problem at all, because it's almost like personality types similar to...
Sometimes you have to show people better than you can tell them.
Lack of a man slowly deteriorates a woman. Tune in. I'm gonna need y'all to keep up with me on this one. The whole I'm independent woman movement, the whole I don't need a man, it's a bunch of crap and a bunch of BS. Emotionally, women cannot survive on their own. I have seen this first-hand account with friends that I know, people that I know, but this especially affects older women. It affects all women, but especially older women. The longer a woman is without a man, the more insane she's gonna go. And the thing is, the woman might not even notice it. She might not even notice it. But the signs that she's slowly deteriorating is when she's been alone for so long, is independent and haven't been with a man in so long, she starts going crazy. She starts having attitudes. Then when she does finally go on a date with a man, she does have that attitude or that guard up, or she starts acting crazy. She starts tripping for no reason. I'm telling you, lack of a man will slowly deteriorate a woman. Y'all can come fight me in these comments, but it's a fact.
Do y'all see what she just said? She told the truth. Women are not designed, I said it plenty of times, women are not designed to live without husbands, without families, and without communities. Okay? They are not designed by nature for it. Men basically are forced to find, men are basically forced to accept their solitude. The thing is that men find peace in solitude. All right? Once a man learns how to be alone, he starts to enjoy it and prefer it. Women are not designed for loneliness. Women are not designed for solitude. Women are not designed for isolation. This is why in prison, you have a lot of dudes who end up in, don't get me wrong, it can be mentally damaging, but there's a lot of men in prison who want to be in the hole. They want to be in isolation. They are basically kept in isolation, and it's not even like a punishment. It's like that's where they want to be. The prison knows they want to be there. The prison wants them. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad that it's almost like a gift. It's like an acknowledgement, like it's like a Holiday Inn kind of thing. Like, okay, we have your room ready, and basically they stay in isolation all the time. They don't have to deal with anyone. They have their food brought to them, and they are more than happy leaving their cell for 1 hour a day to go in and take a shower. And that's just the way they like it. They are happy being alone, completely alone, 24/7 for decades. That's the difference of a man. A woman cannot handle something like that. A woman cannot handle that kind of isolation. It is mentally destructive. Women need emotional outlets. Women need men. Women can, even having like her friends are not enough for her. She needs someone who is there with her all the time that she can basically unleash her crazy on, that will listen to all of her shit and take all of her shit and say, yeah, Women need us way more than we need them. When men are single and alone for long and alone for long enough, they realize, holy shit, I don't need anyone. And this is, a lot of men basically say anything that they have told me, anything that they can't do. Single men have told me anything they can't do for themselves, they just hire someone to do it for them. Hire a man to do it for them. Anything that they cannot do themselves, that they don't have the skills to do themselves, they simply hire a man to do for them. And women are like, oh, well, what are you going to do? You're going to hire someone to take care of you when you're old? You're going to hire someone to wipe your ass for you? And the response is literally, yes. Yes, I am. I will, when I get old, I save my money. I have money set aside. I have health insurance. I have life insurance. So yes, when I get old, and I can no longer wipe my own ass, I will hire someone to wipe my ass for me and to take care of me in my old age. And a lot of women can't accept that fact. They can't accept that men are planning for the future without them. Men are planning for old age without them. Men are planning for long-term survival without women because they don't see the juices being worth the squeeze. They see a relationship as more of a liability than an asset. Women, on the other hand, they have no plan. They have no real plans. Basically, they need a man to plan for them. So they're up a creek without a paddle, and all they can do is basically lash out at men. And the thing is that the longer that they're without a man, the angrier they become and the more unhinged they become. If you look at like Justin Bieber, and after a few years ago, how he was acting, about the whole Diddy thing. And I'm not saying that anything happened between him and Diddy. Okay? I'm not saying anything happened between him and Diddy. Okay? I'm not saying anything happened between him and Diddy. Okay? But, when he was acting crazy a number of years ago, and he was like doing strange shit in public, that's what it looks like when someone is on, like, they become on, like, they start to fall apart mentally. All right, that's what it looks like when someone starts to fall apart mentally, and that's how a lot of women are going to end. Like, they're basically going to start to fall apart mentally because without men to provide the emotional support, financial support, protection, physical presence, they're going to be frightened. They're going to be like, I know this woman who said, like, we were talking online years ago, and she basically told me she's like, she thinks something is wrong with her. She said that's because, like, basically she was living with this dude, and they basically split. She left him, and she went and got her own apartment in like a bad neighborhood, and now she's living by herself, and she's scared. Maybe she went back to him by now, and and she was like, she said to me, she was like, someone just came to the door, was knocking on her door, and she's like, some lady was knocking on her door, and she opened the door and screamed at her, and she was like, is that even normal? And I said to her, well, you're a woman living by yourself, so it's understandable that you're scared. I was trying to be empathetic, but she was like, she couldn't comprehend like her own behavior. But as a man, we can comprehend it. And that's the funny thing. Like, some of the behaviors of women, a lot of women can't even comprehend their own behavior sometimes, because they don't even know, we're the ones who have to deal with it, not them. So when we see a woman become unhinged because she's afraid, because she's alone, yeah, we know this behavior. You're scared. You're scared. You don't know what it's like you fail to comprehend and understand the importance of having a man in the house, so you don't feel alone, so you don't feel scared, so that when someone comes to the door, like as a man, someone comes to my door, I can open the door. I don't give a shit. Like, okay, oh, some dude's at the door. What do you want, homie? Oh, I'm from National Grid or some shit. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Oh, you don't actually work for the company. You're basically like a consultant trying to get me to switch to another. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, bro. It's 9 a.m. It's 9 p.m. at night. What the fuck are you doing here, bro? Get the fuck out of here. Get off my property, motherfucker, before I call the cops. All right? It's different for a man. Women, on the other hand, they don't have that. They can't handle situations. Like, everything gets them nervous when they don't have a man in the house. Like, fuck, what's her name? What's that chick's name? The one that was married to the football player. Oh my gosh. What's the name of that football? Let me check this out. What's the name of the football player here that left football a few years ago? He's like one of the best. He was the best in the world. What's his fucking name? Oh gosh, guys, I cannot remember the name of this guy. The greatest football player. Nah, he was one of the greats. I'm looking on AI. I can't remember who the hell it is, and his wife. Guys, who am I thinking of? There's a football player that left football a few years ago, and he's the greatest. He was one of the greatest. And he's one of the greatest football players to ever live. Who the Tom Brady? There you go. They have bullshit. Yeah, she sucks. I just looked at the comments. Yeah, you guys got me. Thank you very much, chat. Yeah, Tom Brady. Guys, this is the thing about being with men. There you go, another one, Celtics. Guys, this is how horrible it is with dealing with men. Guys, if I fuck up the math, one of you guys will correct it. If I don't remember, men are problem solvers. Men solve problems right away. Yeah. So he was married to this chick, and she basically left him because he was like an ex model. Dude's like 6'2", 6'3". He's worth like $500 million, and his wife leaves him, goes to the streets, immediately starts seeing like her jiu-jitsu instructor, and then I think gets pregnant by him and destroys her family. And the thing is, she was already wealthy. She already had like a net worth of like $200 million herself, because she was one of the top paid. She was like one of the highest paid models in the world. And then she's like, you know what the funny thing is? After leaving her husband, she's like crying in her car when the police stop her, because women cannot live without us. They cannot live without our provision. They just can't do it without us. But guys, I have some food on the way. I've been streaming for you guys, I think for about 2 hours, or a little over 2 hours. Yeah. YouTube says 2 hours, says 2 hours and 23 minutes. I don't know. Has it really been 2 hours and 23 minutes? Maybe it has. Okay, so yeah, I've been streaming for you guys for about over 2 hours. I gave you guys over 2 hours. I'm going to go and have myself a great meal. I want to thank you guys for being here, for enjoying the stream. Let me know what you guys think regarding all of this. Hard times have arrived for women. Happy times have arrived for men, even though times are hard for everyone right now. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.